So G, pretty fast out the blocks with the signings this year, quite a few guys very quickly after the end of the season. There's always a lull. What's been going on in the last few weeks in recruitment?
I think just a lot of legwork on guys, and we're very close on 2 guys. It's kind of at the final stage of it, so hopefully it'll go through, so we don't really want to say too much until that paperwork gets signed, but it's just been a lot of communication, a lot of research on guys, both as a player and in the off ice, how they'll contribute in the dressing room and kind of the whole team aspect here. So it's been a lot of work, but it's going to pay off real soon.
Can you tell us whether you're talking about forwards or defensemen?
1 forward and 1 D-man.
Okay. We're going to talk to Paul and Brent a little later about the implications of the restructuring of the league and the changes to the import level. But from your perspective, obviously it means that you potentially got another guy to go and find. How has that altered what plans you had in place?
Well, I think we kind of heard whispers of this a couple of 3 weeks ago that it was going to happen, so it's one thing that we've kind of factored in, so we are aware of it, we were prepared for it. And it's a big loss, obviously. There's Mark Richardson, there's no question about that. It left a gap on the back end. So I think, for us getting that extra import in is going to be a huge advantage for a team like us to get an extra guy on that back end. So it should really benefit us, and obviously it's going to get a new face, not only on our team but everybody in the league. So I think that extra spot will kind of open up with a certain type of player for every team.
Now, Paul, we've seen obviously on Twitter and Facebook that yourself and G have been meeting quite a lot towards the end of last season and since then. How has the restructuring affected how you're looking at things from a financial point of view?
Well, basically, we have been meeting a lot. I mean, it's fair to say I see him more than my wife. We say we talk more at the moment. But no, we've been meeting consistently now for a good few months, and the one thing we're very keen about this year is making sure that we're out the blocks quickly and making sure that we've had 2 seasons of issues, and whether it be stadium issues or whether it be financial issues with the club. So it's been nice this year to actually focus on the job in hand, and so I think we're in a very strong position. I'm aware of the guys that G's referred to. That if it comes off will be a big plus for us. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But there'll be more out there. I think I'm very pleased about the import rule because, above all else, what we're very good at. When I say we, I mean very much G and Franny, and us as a club in terms of attracting people in, is that I think when it comes down to it, pound for pound, we get that bit more out of our players, and I think that's important. So us getting an extra import potentially is a lot stronger than probably most of the other clubs getting an extra import, because we recruit so well, and we're very much part of that. I think part of that secret is very much down to we don't just look at their playing talent, we look at the overall individual, and team ethos, work ethic. They're all very important things for us. So where we sit at the moment, I think we're in a pretty positive place, and the structure, which we'll come to talk on to in a minute, is something that I don't think particularly has a huge impact on what we're doing, because we're going out to compete as best as we possibly can and go into a 3rd season, which would be if we perform well, would be 3 good seasons in a row in terms of where we compete at our level.
We will talk more about the restructuring later, but G, obviously in a tough conference with the 3 of the biggest teams, 4 or 5 of the biggest teams in the country, if you like. There's been talk about there being 2 elite leagues by some individuals for the last couple of seasons, and effectively there are 2 separate groups now. How do you feel about stacking up against the big boys?
I think it's obviously exciting. I mean, it's better for us to get these teams, especially into our rink. It's such a huge advantage for us. It's good to see these teams more often. The travel's a big thing for us going up north. It takes a lot out of us mentally and physically, and obviously, the biggest thing I think, especially for our club, is financially. It's going to help us out with less travel. And we want to see these teams more often. If you do want to be one of the better clubs, one of the bigger clubs, you have to beat the others that are out there. And we know they're going to spend a little bit more than us and have a few little bit more slight advantages, but that's something that we're aware of, so we can prepare for it. So I think the whole restructuring thing is a very positive thing, and I think it's I've seen a few negative comments about it from some people, and I think that's a little quick overreaction on that. I think going forward, it's a big benefit for us. I mean, obviously, we want to see Belfast. We had a poor record against them last year, and we want to change that. So to have the opportunity to play them one more time at home, I think is very exciting.
I think the other thing with that as well is, we all talk about us But what about the other 4 clubs that have got to come to us? You know, no one likes to come down to Cardiff and face. Nobody comes down here and gets a walkover, and they've got to play that extra game against us now. So, you know, it's not just about Cardiff. It's about, you know, those other teams have also got to experience a tougher run-in. Injuries will play a bigger part, and there's certainly not going to be the level of players sat in the stand that was last year. I mean, I'm well aware of one club that had a number of extra players last year, and they will not be doing it this year because, you know, that they just didn't pay any dividends at all for them. In fact, it created more issues for them. So, you know, there is definitely going to be a situation where I think, you know, these other clubs are going to be somewhat concerned about coming to us, and we all know they hate coming to play, you know, in our blue tent.
Gee, does the additional import change your view, although it's partly financial, as to whether you're playing or coaching, or do you plan to play a coach again?
No plan on playing and coaching. So I think, you know, that extra player, I think, is just you know, it's a big benefit for us. I think, you know, on the defensive side of things, just to give Phil there a little bit more support and, you know, add a little bit more physical play to our team. So it's a big advantage for us.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, guys.